Evening and welcome to another edition of the Buddy Martin Show. We're live from our offices in Panama City, right above the beautiful bay right here in St. Andrews. Buddy Martin, the program is heard 4 nights a week, maybe more. Also on with Shane Matthews and others. And tonight, it's Orange BlueBloods, and it's the first swallows of spring. Well, they're not swallows or gators, but today they took the field. I'll show you how they looked. I'll talk, by the way, to a guy who was taking the pictures and was there. We'll talk with nFranz Beard later, the intrepid reporter who was on the scene and will give us how it looks. And, of course, it's been Troupe night. It's always good to have Ben, and he will be on the program momentarily, along with Loren Meadows. Stay tuned. How does it look the first day of spring? Well, usually it looks pretty good. We'll see what it looks like to these guys. Orange BlueBloods next right here on the Buddy Martin Show.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye!
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Greetings and welcome to the program. Buddy Martin with you. As I said earlier tonight, we have a couple of people just off the practice field. We'll talk to them about what they saw. Ben Troupe is always good to have. Tonight, we'll have him on discussing the future of things like, well, the Gator Collectors now call something else Florida Victorious. Brilliant job by Ben this morning on the Rob Brown show on the SEC sidelines. He'll get him to repeat some of those things. So, and the guy who's always there, who was hanging around, taking pictures, looking for images. He never misses a good image. And today he got one I want to show it before he gets on. Here's a couple, first of all, who doesn't love Big Des? Everybody loves Big Des. And there he is, full tilt. Looks like he might have lost 2 or 3 pounds, maybe. Big Des Watson was there taking a little break, and our intrepid photographer, Chris Spears, grabbed that photo, and I'll show you one here now quickly. The first look at DJ Lagway, and certainly won't be the last. First of many to come. There he is, Lagway, number 2. Everybody's staring down. And I'll tell you what I saw on video. Not much, but what I saw. Let's go to the Orange and Blue room and talk to a guy who was there and saw all this. Guy who does a fantastic job of reporting and doing photography and video for Gator Bay, has for a number of years. Good man, good friend, Chris Spears. Evening to you, Chris. Are you there, Chris?
Hey.
I'm not hearing you, Chris. Are you clicked in? You for sure? Don't hear you. Check, Chris. Come back to us, Chris. Your audio is not working. Allow the audio, okay? Hopefully it's not on our end. But let me check with the folks out there. Everybody okay on the audio tonight? I see that Tommy Seal has checked in. He was the leader in the clubhouse tonight, Tommy Seal. Buck Wade joins him. And then Toby Permanent, one of our really committed loyal listeners, viewers, joins us. Good evening to you, Dilly. And then Marcus Martin just joined. So hopefully your audio is okay there. And everything's working good. So let me go back to that. Let's try Chris again. Chris, can you hear us?
Buddy, can you hear me now?
I think I can. Yes. Hi, Chris.
Hello, buddy. Good to meet you.
Good to see you again, my friend.
Yes, sir. Good to see you too, sir.
And thanks for all the great work you've done for Gator Bay over the years. This guy is everywhere: volleyball, softball, baseball, football, and he was there today at spring ball. And before we get Ben Troupe on here, I want you to tell me, Chris, you got a good eye and a good ear. What did you see in here today when you were out there watching the first swallow of spring, right?
it was certainly a beautiful day to begin the process. And while our visit there is relatively short for media, the things I was most impressed with was the Christmas. It didn't seem like day one. Merz and DJ, and speaking of DJ, it's, I've been following on Facebook for the last year, and it's finally good to see the guy in the Gator uniform.
Yeah.
And it was, I guess, it seemed like it was a dream that may or may not happen. So to see him suited up today was very warming. And I seen him at some games last year, but he's got a bigger stature. He's built like a junior to me. In his body, his arms, his muscles, his thighs. He's pretty impressive. There was a couple other quarterbacks there that were just kind of backup, but he's got a good body on him and threw very well. But him and Merz looked really good today to get started. I spent most of the time watching those guys, and I watched some of the defensive line. And you're right, Big Dez is quite a man. I think 465 pounds. It's he looked quick too. I know it wasn't in the middle of a game, but he still looks like a contender there.
So Ben Troupe, Big Dez is trimmed down to, what was it again, Chris? 427? What was it?
No, I think I'd heard he's up to 465.
Oh, 465. Okay. He's in his playing weight. Ben, good evening to you. Say hi to Chris. Chris is at practice today, and we're getting a little weigh-in from him on what he saw on the field. He took some nice pictures. I showed this picture early. First look at DJ Lagway, except for the video we saw in high school. And I got a couple. You sent a couple of video clips too, which I can't play here at the moment. But I will say what I saw, and you can't tell too much there. Of course, you see him get ready to throw a pass, and I saw the video on this throw. He just looks like somebody special. He throws the ball with grace, direction, and he has. I mean, this is just a clip. Now, don't hold me to this description, and Ben, I'll get your take on this. Just a one completion I saw him throw. He snapped that ball. His wrist action, his release is quick, and I can see why he got all those touchdowns. Ben, did you get to see any of those clips?
Yeah, I have to, unlike Chris and them, I ain't had a chance to see these guys in person. I be Twitter and Instagram stalking these dudes. They don't mind putting out they're gonna put out certain clips of them. But I mean, DJ Lagway, unless you live under a rock, you saw this dude play a lot in high school, and I think the best thing about him is his poise. I mean, you look at this picture to where everybody's looking at him, even the guys off to the side over there on the sideline. Everybody's looking at two because everybody wants to get that close up view of him. But I just like the greatest thing that happened to Derek Lagway was Graham Merz. Every great player needs to sit behind a great player, so you can see. How you go about with your footwork, how you go about with your reads, how you go about with your practice and preparation. So Graham Merz being back, fully participating. I know he's coming off an injury, and DJ being behind him, and everybody knows who's going to end up being the guy. But the guy right now is 1-5. But I'm just happy to see those guys back out there. Isn't it great to just have football to make all the noise go away? I mean, at least for now, coaches, who's leaving, who's added, who's staying. I just think it's really, really good to get them guys back out there. 15 practices is going to go by really, really quickly. They already got number one in the books. And, hey, man, with no pads on, you can do no wrong. Like I said, certain guys look really, really good when they ain't got them pads on. But I am happy to see DJ out there. I'm really, really happy to see Graham Merz out there. I'm really looking forward to see these young receivers that Florida has. And I said, I mean, you worry about the ones that are here. I know it was a lot of turnover, which is going to be now with the transfer portal. But I'm like, Chris, I'm just happy to see him out there. Like I said, DJ Lagway, I know he's from Texas. I saw a lot of highlights of him. Every time I saw him, 5 touchdown first half, 7 touchdown game. I'm just happy he wearing orange and blue. Because if he would have went to that team up there in Athens, I would hate him. And I don't even know him. Never met him. Never spoke to him yet. Hope to speak to him, but so far so good. And that injury report, as long as he stay off of that, I'm good.
I think Chris said. Go ahead, Chris.
No, DJ's 6'3", and he's 241 as a freshman, and not a lot of fat as a quarterback. And And some of you mentioned about Merz, glad he's there. I mean, when the other quarterbacks would take their turn, he would go up and pat him on the helmet. He would tap him on the shoulder. He was very affirming all the way through, and that's what a leader does. When it's not his turn, he's not looking off to the side and watching. You know, I seen him talking with the other quarterbacks, and you know they do something. He'd pat him on the helmet like "good job," and you're right. It's truly a blessing that we got Merz back. And but DJ at 241 at 6'3". I mean, Merz is a good athlete, but he's 215. I mean, and this guy's 25 pounds heavier as a freshman. It's a lot of potential there. Just got to keep him, but I'm glad he's there.
The way he's built, and before we let Chris go, appreciate you coming in early to give us the details and seeing it firsthand, Chris, is that you look at any little details. If you're a reporter photographer, you look at things that, you know, you're looking for any little things. And you mentioned the fact that other players are watching him, you know, through him. And I look at his body and look at his legs. Well, those are some legs right there for an athlete. I mean, they're not little skinny ones like I got, you know, and he's got some bulk on him. We know his arm strength is good. And Chris is like you said, you just hoping that dream was going to come true. And today we saw this on the field, and I'm wondering how Gator fans are feeling. They got to be feeling pretty good about that, seeing that guy. He's on campus, he's there, and like you said, he's wearing orange and blue.
He's got some arms on him too. He's an impressive athlete. I'm glad he's in the orange and blue, like Ben said.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, thanks a lot, man. Good stuff, good pictures. Look for his pictures on Gator Bait. He's got a lot more. He always does. He does a great job of shooting for us, and also not a bad dude either. Sits around Ocala. If you want to buy a car, by the way, I'll be coming to you one of these days soon to buy another one. Chris Spears, Prestige Auto. He's our guy. He's also the official transportation company of Gator Bait and the Buddy Martin Show, man. So keep that in mind.
Listen. I'm gonna tell Chris right now. Now that I got you on, I ain't really got into the sponsor game yet when it comes to 84 Reasons, but I am coming. Ocala, Florida, way back in 2004, my rookie year. That's where I got my first car from. To this day, I couldn't tell you what dealership it was, but my first car I ever bought in life came from Ocala. They shipped it from Ocala to Nashville, Tennessee. I'm sitting at the hotel, and the lady comes up to me and says, "Sir, they got your car outside." I said, "You sure it's mine?" She said, "They said it was yours." I got out there, and so my first car ever in life was from Ocala, Florida.
Ocala, Florida.
Yeah. Well, Chris is your guy there. If you need a car, he's the man. Chris, thank you so much for everything you're doing for us. Be well, my friend. Hope to see you in a couple of weeks, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Chris Spears doing his double duty tonight as a reporter. He's turning everybody else's reporter's hat and giving us the details. Ben and I haven't been there yet, and we hope to soon. But Franz Beard has. He'll be along shortly. We'll get his take on what he saw in his notebook. And so, Ben, how you doing? It's good to see you. And I heard you this morning on the SEC sidelines talking about the money situation and the loyalty. And a lot has gone on. And I've heard a number of reporters say this in the past couple of weeks. And I've talked to quite a few reporters in the last couple of days about what they're doing. And it's a very confusing, difficult time for them to try to keep up with what's going on and try to figure out how to report it. And who do you believe, who do you not? How do you source it? So it's a hard time for people reporting. I talked to 2 or 3 of them the last couple of days, the best that we got. And they're either discouraged because they can't get enough information, or they're confused because they got too much information but not what they want. And it's hard times. We do the best we can here to bring you what we can bring you. And thanks for all those people who were out there today. And I had to go out tonight to a political event, and ordinarily I wouldn't go. But we had a guy down here who was running for sheriff. He's been the sheriff for 7 years. He's doing uncontested. And he came here and spoke to people in our building, and I had to kind of go because he's my stepson. So I got to make sure I support him. My wife won't be happy with it. No, Tommy Ford.
But I said I normally wouldn't go, but he's my stepson. So
yeah, good to have a Well, you want to be sure to stay on the good side as a sheriff, and especially mine. Absolutely. So Tommy Ford, he'll be winning again soon. All right, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and get loaded up, ready to go. Ben, I want to get your take on a lot of things. The whole issue with Nick Saban. A lot of controversy has come out on that, and I thought it was over after the first couple. No, it's just starting. There's a bunch of people who, and look, I'm a Nick Saban fan. I heard you say that you were too. You talked about it. But when you break it down, you start saying, let's play by the rules here. The way people see it, it's like, okay, it was working good for you and you liked it, but then all of a sudden it wasn't working for you. Now take my ball and go home. Yeah. And now you're ripping your players. That's one way to look at it. But it really is making you stop and think about it. You think about how many other coaches feel the same way. We know they do, that they're having to deal with difficult times. On the other hand, Ben, this is the way business is done right now. So what's the hard one? If you're a new coach like Billy Napier, Steve Spurrier kind of said how he felt about it earlier this week, although I didn't think he was that critical, but some people did. And I was talking last night to my friend David Moulton, who does the Wednesday night show with us, and I asked him if he was covering Florida football. He's not. He's out of Jacksonville now. What would be the storylines that he would talk about? I thought he'd say, well, DJ Lagway and the defense, whatever. He said, no. There'll only be one story as far as I'm concerned. What's that? He said, what Steve Spurrier said about what's broken in the program and what he didn't like about it. Really? Because I talked to Spurrier 5 times in the last 3 days. And I got to know what he meant. But on the other hand, he said some things to a Jacksonville reporter. When you put it together, man, this is the head HBC saying this. And some people thought, man. And David Moulton said, well, this is huge. So I don't care what all the rest of them say together, he said. But when he says that, I don't know what your view of that is. Let's go hear from our sponsors, our good friends at Meldon Law, and we'll come back and we'll talk about his impact and what is it like. It's different when he says it than when you and I say it. So we'll see what Ben has to say next right here on the Buddy Martin Show. Orange BlueBloods Thursday. Jeffrey, you do a show where you ask a lot of questions. I've got one for you right now, okay, regarding how do you know whether your case is being handled right and what to do about it. In medicine, you can get a second opinion if you're not satisfied with the doctor's opinion that they have. And do you have that in law? Can you do that with lawyers?
Yeah, buddy. As a matter of fact, we get quite a few calls from folks that have signed up, particularly with the big box law firms, that they do a hell of a good job of putting ads on TV, but after that, they don't really measure up to the way we try to create a client experience that's outstanding. And we're always willing to review a case and give a second opinion, just like with a doctor, because not all law firms are created equal.
I guess that's the normal thing. Just go to Meldon Law, Google it, and find out, and just give them a call. And like you say, if you come in, you get to see a Meldon. You don't get shuffled off to somebody else. You get to see a Meldon, and that's good to know because a lot of people don't know how to do that stuff, like me. And maybe you can coach us through. So Meldon Law, they won't back down. They will take your questions about your case if you have a question.
Yes, whether it's a new case or an existing case, give us a call. We'd be glad to go over it with you. There's no charge to review your case with you. And a lot of times it makes good sense just to get a second opinion.
Good stuff from Meldon Law. They don't back down, but they will give you a second opinion. All right, thank you, Jeffrey. Go back to Ben Troupe. The first day of spring practice is when people are usually optimistic. I don't know that I can put my finger on any particular mood at this point in time. I suspect a lot of Gator fans are optimistic, but we had people there on the ground, and one of them was Franz Beard, who should be along in a couple of minutes. We heard from our photographer, the official transportation company of Gator Bait, and that would be Prestige Auto. Just Spears photographs. What his thoughts are. Okay, your mind can kind of drift around. Man, I know it's hard for us not being there to see every day what goes on, not be reporters. We can only theorize. As you're sitting here thinking about your talk show, 84 Reasons, excuse me, and you'll have a chance to talk to some of these players I know. It was Freddie Weeby, who was on last night, who's the new Chief Revenue Officer for Florida Victorious, has promised me that we'll be able to talk to players again like we used to, remember? And you've had some good ones on 84 Reasons already. As you sit and think about the future, knowing what you know now, you obviously want to talk to Lagway. Everybody does, and they probably won't let him do interviews, and that's how it is. But as you go forth with the themes of spring ball, you played it, you're thinking about it, you talk about it a lot. What are the 2 or 3 themes that interest you the most?
One of the biggest things is just the quarterback position as a whole. Because the thing about it is, buddy, the hardest people think that college football is about the starter. I need a solid backup. I need a just in case guy, but I need him to be as good, if not better, than the main guy. And that's what we don't know how good DJ Lagway is going to be. We just don't. The hype is there. I know they're already getting the whole Chris Leak, Tim Tebow comparisons, with one guy being the elder statesman and Graham Mertz. And obviously you talk about DJ Lagway, the young stud, the player of the year. But number 2, for me, buddy, it's got to be the defense. It has to be. Because when you think about Florida right now, every time Loren comes on, he's going to say we were 5 plays or 5 stops away from having a total different season. Nobody can get over that 3rd and 20-something, whatever, against Mizzou. And the guy's wide open on the 4th and whatever it was. So for me, it's the defense. And number 3, which I think is always the big thing coming out of the spring is, man, what is going to be the look? Like, what are we going to do are we going to be run heavy on offense with the passing game as a complement, or are we going to be more balanced? Because the thing about spring that I enjoyed the most was you get to show these coaches how far you've come in a year. I get to show these coaches, like, who's going to be that guy on defense. I know Marshall is back. I know Wingo is back. I know Shamar James is, he's kind of like limited right now. Who's going to be the alpha male on defense that's going to pull those other 10 guys with him? We already got that on offense. Graham Mertz, this time last year, buddy, is Graham Mertz ready? This is the SEC. Is he ready to step up? Who's going to be? Oh, that's been a race. 2023, it was if everybody played like Graham Mertz, I don't know if we beat Georgia, but we definitely finished 2nd in the East. I don't know if we beat them. So for me, quarterbacks, Lagway and obviously Mertz, how is the defense going to look? And how are both sides? What is going to be the scheme on both sides? Because, buddy, I know we talk a lot about the offense, but the defense the last 2 or 3 years has been first it was the terminology, then it was the players, then it was getting lined up, simplifying it, and just go play. Because while I used to think that when my time at Florida, we had all these super dynamic schemes, we had guys that could run it. We had. So when you start talking about what this team needs to have this year, I've been blessed to be able to have Graham Mertz on, and he was honest. He said to me, listen, we are what our record says we were. Like, and we ain't gonna get no fanfare going into SC Media Days, coming out of SC Media Days. They gonna be laughing at us. He said
in Dallas this year, by the way, Dallas Fort Worth.
Yes, he said. But the one thing Graham said that stood out the most was I said, how would you describe this team? He said, we are hungry and ready. We're going to be a hungry bunch. And by the time we kick it off, we're going to be ready. And what I like the most about how he said it was, he said, look, I don't got to give he says, I'm not trying to give you no viral, moments. So I'm not trying to say something that will rile everybody up. We are what our record says we were last year. And we have to live with that. But he said, we are a hungry and ready bunch. And what I like about this squad is, obviously the national champion didn't come out of the SEC this year. Alabama still proved that they were a team to be reckoned with by what they was able to do against Georgia in Atlanta. Georgia is still the team, might be the best team in the country coming back. I just think for this Florida team, put your head down and go out there and make the most of these 15 practice. Well, now 14 because they've already got the one out the way. Because, people, buddy, it used to be a time where the only person that could give you any information about the team were the Buddy Martins, were the Franz Beards, where's the media. Now, good Lord, it's so many people that have access to have something to say. So, but I'm looking forward to seeing those guys just come together because as much as Florida, quote, lost, they gained a lot too. You still got some guys at key positions that get to go out there and prove themselves. And hey, I've always been a sucker for the spring because you get this. You know about who the starters are. Like, okay, it ain't gonna be no surprise who the starters are. But the second team, third team, or backups, that's what a competition is. I'm telling you, that's what a competition is. And I know I didn't mention them. I know that. I know that Etienne moved on, to Georgia. I still think our running back room is very impressive. I still think that what we with Johnson and Trayon, I think that what we have, how the O-line look, how are we gonna use the running game, and I guess we have offensive coordinators now, even though Coach Billy gonna be calling the plays, Coach Callahan and company. But like I said, buddy, the greatest distraction you have on a team is the quarterbacks. Because as long as you talk about them, you ain't talking about everything else, which I know we're not gonna get that luxury. But Lagway takes a huge load off of the rest of the squad because it's about him and Graham and how he looks, how Graham looks, and let the team go out there and make it happen. I mean, I know earlier you talked about what Coach Spurrier said, what he didn't like about the program. I would say this to anybody that got something to say about what Coach Spurrier said. Don't ask him a question and don't think he's not going to answer you. Coach Spurrier is not going to sugarcoat it. Coach Spurrier is going to answer your question, but Coach Spurrier, what he said is how he felt. And people are going to be, nobody wants Florida to win more than Coach Spurrier. I can guarantee you that. But he's going to be honest. He's been honest. He was honest at Duke. He was honest at Florida. He was honest with the Redskins. He was with the Commanders now. He was honest at South Carolina. So all of a sudden, Coach, give us something cookie cutter. No. I'm going to tell you how I feel. But underneath everything I said, people will say this. How do you know when somebody loves something? When they criticize you criticize what you love. That don't mean you love it any less, more or less. So I wasn't too high, too low about what Coach Spurrier said. I think that, buddy, the frustration level for the last couple of years has been high. That's not rocket science. But the potential has always been there too. It would be different if Florida had nothing to work with. They have a lot to work with. It's just that sometimes what you're doing on the field, on the practice field, don't necessarily translate to the game field. I know we got a lot of days until we kick it off for real against that team from down south who got a lot to say, like they've done it anyway. I ain't even gonna give them any more, airtime than I have. But I appreciate Coach Spurrier being open, honest, and candid. Because had he said something that didn't sound like him, buddy, I get more worried about that.
Yeah.
So he's just being honest, and even with the Nick Saban stuff, I agree with what you said, buddy. Alabama really, really worked for Nick Saban, didn't it? I mean, it took him to a stratosphere that only he's been to, and all of a sudden, the players this, and it don't work that.
Yeah, worked out pretty well for him. Along those lines of Spurrier, excuse me for interrupting you. Yeah. But I have a picture I want to put up here, and I'm hoping. One of the things I'm hoping is that these young quarterbacks, they know this is quarterback you, and Spurrier had some great ones, and if they could embrace it, how they could fit in that ilk, and certainly Lagway's got that kind of potential. There was a picture today that moved, which I'm going to put up here, and it says, what did they say, 69 and 9, I believe is what they said, of these guys. You look at this legacy, you say, what do you see? Look at that. Doug Johnson, Steve Spurrier, Danny Werfel, and Shane Matthews. There's three quarterbacks right there.
I mean, that's number one. I mean, Coach Spurrier obviously started all winning the Heisman, and he comes back. And as much as I love Doug, and as much as I love Danny, it does not happen without Shane. Shane started it all because when you got a system, buddy, that there's nobody else to look around and compare it to because it was one of a kind. I'd never seen this before. Wait a minute, we listen. All of college football was ground and pound. We're gonna run the football. We're gonna play good defense. Coach Spurrier said, I'm gonna spread you out. So listen, love Doug, obviously. Love Danny and Danny. I will say this: Shane showed this is what the fun and gun looks like, because Shane had an incredible career. SEC Player of the Year like 2 times. You talk about 3-time first team All SEC. Got honored last year for the Gator Legend at the SEC Championship game. Doug took it to another level, but I say Danny Werfel had Ike, Riedel, Jaquez. And like I said, I mean, when you look at that much talent, this is a picture I can say that a lot of people can't say. Most people will not live up to their potential. All those guys did.
Yeah.
And then some. Because that's the thing, buddy, is what Buddy Martin has seen throughout the years is, I know this player, I knew these players, they had all this potential, but they never quite turned the corner. Those guys I'm looking at right here, all of them did it. Every last one of them. And I'm just happy to have, I've never met Danny in person. Obviously got coached by Coach Spurrier. Shane, I've spoken to Shane many times, never met Doug, but that's it, buddy. I mean, when you talk about what I want my quarterbacks to be, that's it. That's everything you want to do. National champion, check. Heisman's, check. What about a guy that was buried on the depth chart and never ever even thought that he would even get a chance to play in college football? That would be Shane. I mean, what about a guy that won the Heisman and coached the Heisman? Has anybody ever done that? Mm-hmm. That would be Coach Spurrier. So I'm just happy that these guys are still being remembered, because I know the thing about being a player is no matter what a player says, you want to be remembered by the people who watch you. You do. And that's from humility. That has no vein attached to it. That has no conceitedness or arrogance attached to it. You want to be remembered for what you did. So I'm just happy that these guys are getting their just dues. You cannot live a life as great as Coach Spurrier, as a coach, as a player, as a person, please. So I'm just happy that these guys are getting their just dues. And like I say, if you want to know what the love of college football is, just talk to Shane Matthews. Just let him tell you what he had to overcome to even get out there. To gain the trust of that man named Steve Spurrier, you can play football. If Steve Spurrier put you out there, you can play football. Because he ain't going to lie to you. And he ain't going to put you out there just because he like you either. He can love you, but he ain't going to put you out there. So I'm just happy. And so when people talk about legacy at Florida, that's a lot of it right there. I know Tebow ain't there, and I know Rex ain't there, and I know I know Chris Leak ain't there, but those are the originators right there, man. Every Florida quarterback that will come and want to come here, if you don't know those four guys right there, you're doing yourself a disservice.
It's a great point. Now, the reason I want to go back to it, I know that people are saying, buddy, Ben, stop living in the past. I get it, all that, and I'm not saying it's always going to be, but if you just take two people in that picture, forget Danny and Doug and even Tebow and what have you. But what's amazing about this photo, about these people here, is that, like you said, I was there when people asked Steve Spurrier in 1990, who's your quarterback? I don't know. He said, whoever it is will lead the league in passing. And there was a bunch of guys who played the year before. We all were guessing who it would be. And nobody even thought of Shane Matthews. He was buried so far in the depth chart, nobody knew who he was. He was like the sixth-string quarterback, okay? The guy came up, and he got some good notification. John Reeves helped him a lot on the scout team. And, of course, he got up there, and pretty soon he was throwing touchdown passes and the MVP of the league. And you think, what is on your roster? Sometimes you don't even know what's on your roster. And you look at guys like that, and you tell these young quarterbacks, hey, look, this has been done before. It's been done right here at your school by people. And look at the great career that Shane Matthews had, that is having now in media, and someone I think who deserves a lot more credit than he's getting, really, to be honest with you. And he made it happen. So I played with Doug my rookie year. Doug played with the Titans in 2004 was my rookie year. I caught passes from Doug our last game of the season against the Detroit Lions. So I think, buddy, sometimes greatness is so rare because we throw it on everybody. Oh, that guy there's great. No, he might have had a great moment. That guy there's great. No, Doug Johnson, think about this. From Gainesville, Buchholz High School. Only grew up a Florida Gator and got to go out there and do it. Danny Warfel, I will say this. Shane Matthews was the originator. Right? Shane Matthews was the originator. He was the one that showed this is how you run this offense. If you want to see how the quarterback position is played, like in just a beautiful manner, you can't play it better than Danny Warfel. The way he played, you just couldn't.
Danny Wolford was Steve Spurrier. He was Steve Spurrier's clone when he played. Everything Spurrier wanted, he got it through Danny. Right? He just did. And I think the thing about it is Coach Spurrier understands what a quarterback is and what he needs to do to get it done. He just knows. He saw it in Rex. He saw it in Jesse Palmer. He saw it in these guys. I mean, Noah Brandeis that was there as a coach when I was there.
Yeah.
So, Buddy, like I said, Buddy Martin doesn't walk around, throwing his accolades at people. But you earned them. Every last thing you got, they didn't just give it to you. You earned it, and you appreciate it when they honored you with it. Those guys, like I said, the one thing that college football needs to do a better job of, and it's becoming upon these universities to do it. When DJ Lagway come in, the first thing you do when you get here, hey man, we finna give you a history lesson. What? We finna tell you what
exactly.
You really
Show them the picture and tell them the story behind it.
I mean,
and then if you need, then go tell them to go talk to this guy, Franz Beard, and he lived it and saw it and whatever. He's got the advantage of people around. Now, how is that important? I mean, nobody cares about that anymore. People say that these kids don't know. I don't believe that. I know they don't live in the past as much as Franz Beard does. Franz is so far in the past, he's in the dark. You can't even see him. Oh, there he is. We've had the hardest time hooking up with Franz the last few days. He tried so hard to get in after that basketball game on Tuesday night, and everywhere he went, the Wi-Fi wasn't working. Hello, up, Franz. Can you hear me? No.
The O-Dome after that game was absolutely ridiculous, and I think there were 11,009 people there, and I think 5 years from now, 34,000 of people will claim that they were there.
They all had two iPhones,
and all of them were on Wi-Fi at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we'll finish this thought, and I want to get to that because that basketball game was really, really, really special. I know you've seen some significant games, all the significant games, the last 35 or 40 years in Florida. And we'll get to that basketball game, but we're just talking about legacies and about the fact that today you saw him. I want to ask you about it. DJ Lagway, you'd like to not focus just on this guy, but you can hardly help it. You can't take your eyes off of him. Ben and I haven't seen him in person as you did, but we saw some videos, and Chris Pierce was there. We had Chris on earlier and talked about it. So let's start with you talking about what you saw today, Franz.
Well, let's start with the fact that Des Watson is an eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
He is 400 listed at 465. It doesn't look a biscuit over 493.
Mm-hmm. Like this, you mean? Like this guy? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just say that they need to, when he goes to McDonald's, just give him a Happy Meal for a while. He's large, and he is on as Billy said afterward, he is on a plan to lose weight, and he's got to lose weight. He has to. There's no question the kid's got talent. He always has, but he's always had a weight problem. DJ Lagway is 6'3", 241 pounds, and he doesn't look a pound over 200. He is that well put together. We're talking about a guy that just, if you were going to sculpt the ultimate quarterback body, you'd probably say this is the guy we will use, He's amazing how well put together he is. You watch the ball come off his hand, and it's a very, very easy, tight motion, and the ball gets there in a hurry. I'm not saying he's throwing a fastball every time, but it just gets there in a hurry. There's a lot of zip on the ball, buddy, and some guys look like they're just rearing back and throwing, they're trying to throw a BB through a brick wall, and this guy, it's just come like that, and all of a sudden it's there.
Yeah, he does have that quick release.
I think Ben, you probably played with some guys like that in the NFL. That some guys look like, boy, they've just got all this motion and everything like that, and then there's these guys that the ball just go like that, and it is there.
Yeah.
And Rex was like that. When,
I'm about to say, Tyrone Calico out of Middle Tennessee State got drafted in 2003, a year before me. When I got drafted in 2004, when he first met me, he said, "You was at Florida, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "You played with Rex Grossman?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Listen," he said, "We were at the combine, and Rex Grossman got up there to throw. We were fighting each other to get him." He said, "You were running." He said, "You're running a 15-yard dig. You take one step, that ball is right. As soon as you look at him," I said, "Listen, man." I say, Rex daddy was a doctor. That boy's from Indiana where they play basketball. But he can slang that thing. Like Rex one of those guys that when Spurrier used to tell him, he said, "Listen," he said, "confidence and arrogance, you need to be right there in the middle. I need you to be," and he was. I don't think it was an arrogant bone in Rex's body. But Rex Grossman, I don't know if he went to class. Don't care if he went to class. I got tired of telling those people at our favorite supermarket, I saw Rex Grossman. He was back here. I said, "That's 21. It's okay. He can." I said, "Just be there on Saturday. Just be there on Saturday to watch that young man." And like I said, it's DJ Lagway got that. He got that flick of the wrist throw. He flick it like that.
That is true. I watched that video today. That's the first thing I saw. It just came to mind. He turned and he focused, and he did let this, and the ball was there and on the money and right on his body. It was amazing. That's just one pass.
The thing I like about him also watching him is some guys you watch them and you just know they're confident throwers. Okay, they know the minute the ball is 2 inches away from their fingertips, they know if they've got a good throw or not.
Yeah.
And that's a confident thrower. It's kind of like a pitcher who knows he's throwing strikes, and the moment the ball leaves his fingers, he knows whether he's got one that's going to hit the strike zone or not. And he is a confident thrower. And Ben just made a good point, the bit about being halfway between arrogant and confident, and that I guess you could say it's that combination of both, because you got to have it. There is no such thing as an NFL quarterback who's successful who isn't.
I think we're getting a little excited about this guy, aren't we? Already? He's just one day of practice, and man, we're all in love with this guy.
But
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm guilty. I'm with you.
But you know what, buddy? I loved what I saw of Graham Mertz today too. And Graham Mertz is out there, and we forget how accurate he was last year. We forget how well he throws the football. My only thing looking back on last year is, and I guess it had to do with the pass protection, but he should have been throwing the ball downfield more often last year. In the last half of the season when he was throwing the ball down the field, it was really, really good. And watching him throw today, oh my! Tell you another one. The ball comes out of his shoulder. Some guys it comes out of their ear. For him, it comes out of his shoulder. I mean, it's that flick, boom, and it's there. He's really, really looks good. Interesting too. He talked. I just transcribed first 7.5 minutes of him today, and it's interesting listening to him about how he said he looked at what happened last year, and he looked at all these moments when plays were there to be made that weren't, etc., like that. And he said 5 wins wasn't acceptable. He said I had to come back. He says I got to fix it. And that's accountability. And if this program is going to get past this hump we've been on the last 2-3 years, that's the word that's got to be the key word. It's called accountability. You've got to have guys that look at that and say, what could I have done better? What should I have done better? It's kind of like what Todd Golden keeps talking about practice. He says, come today to practice. Be 1% better than you were yesterday. And whether that's making one more shot than you made yesterday, or being a better teammate than you were yesterday, etc. And Graham Mertz has that he is an accountable young man. I mean,
but the new guy is always the most fun to talk about, and we're going to do that. First of all, let me just say, welcome, Ben Loren. Say this is presented in part by Titan MRI, North Central Florida's new premier independent diagnostic facility. You check them out. They're excited to let you know that they now are open and serving the greater Gainesville and North Central Florida area, and they're focused on you, the patient, customer service. They'll make specialized appointments for you. No cash, no insurance, no problem. Cash and card acceptance same day. And you've also got really top flight equipment. So they're flexible. They're there for you. Check them out online, TitanMRI.com. Franz Beard, Loren Meadows, Ben Troupe. We're talking about Florida football. I guess we're not going to get off the subject or back on the subject of Spur at the moment, because right now I can feel the excitement in this group. And I want to give Loren to, he was there. There was Ben and weren't I. Let's just start with the vibe he's feeling about what he's hearing about the quarterbacks, particularly DJ Lagway, Loren.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have all, right now it's gonna be all positive, and I'm sure he looked great today, and he's gonna be a good player. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm anti DJ Lagway, because
I want you to look at video first and come back and talk to me. Because after I saw the video today, I thought, whoa, wait a minute now.
Buddy, I mean, look, I'm a former receiver, man, and Ben can tell you, I mean, good teams, the ball should never hit the ground. I mean, even at Division III Ohio Northern, the ball didn't hit the ground for 3 weeks during practice. I mean, that just he's going to be a good player, excellent player. I think he fits everything that Billy Napier wants to do offensively. I think he's perfectly made for that system, and I do. But like Franz finished up, Graham Mertz looked just as good. He came back because 5 wins weren't enough, and you got to temper your expectations, because I mean, there's no doubt in my mind Graham Mertz will be the primary signal caller for Florida. So I mean, I think that DJ Lagway is the quarterback of the future.
All right, you guys aren't getting my message here, okay? I understand all the logic of all the stuff about it, all that stuff about this. You're not getting my message here. When my man Franz Beard gets as pumped up as he is after he saw this, you have to listen to his description about it. And they just say, oh, yeah, well, he's got to – listen, I saw talent like this in John Elway, and a guy named Steve DeBerg was playing in front of him. Okay, he's a nice little – Steve DeBerg knew what was happening. He says it's just a matter of time before my experience, he had like 12 years in the league, is overcome by Elway's talent.
So we're comparing DJ Lagway to the undisputed.
No, I'm not comparing him to anybody. I'm trying to get you to say, listen, Loren, listen to your elders, okay, just for a second here, all right? You may have been playing football and all that stuff, but we got gray hair, and we've seen it, a lot of it, all right? My man Franz has seen them all, too. This ain't just some kid out of high school looks like he, I'm sorry, it's not, it's not just an average everyday guy. This guy is exceptional talent. I've judged talent on the hoof my entire life. I'm not always right, but when I saw Shaquille O'Neal at 18 years old played in the SEC tournament, and I was living in Denver and Orlando, I saw this guy play. I called my friends, Joe, and said, I have seen the future of basketball. This guy, Shaquille O'Neal, is amazing. Now, I'm not saying this guy is Shaquille O'Neal in football. I'm just saying the gifts he has. And that picture we showed earlier, I had it up earlier, showing him and the way he looks in the pocket. And Loren, you know this is true, and Ben, you do too. A guy can walk on the field and the way he looks and the way he carries himself is a big deal. To a fellow athlete, he said, whoa, well, hold on a second now. This guy's something special. So I'm not ready. I don't want you to clear the national championship today. I don't want you to say this guy's going to break every record in Florida. I'm telling you right now, I've just seen a little tiny bit. I am really impressed. So you might as well get on the bandwagon now, Loren. Now later. Might not be room for you later, right, Franz?
May I say something real quick?
It's not necessarily being on the bandwagon. There's a difference between.
Yeah, it is. It is so being on the bandwagon. Yeah, it is.
There's a difference in looking at a guy and saying, this guy's impressive. This guy's got something that should translate into something greater. And another thing, into putting unrealistic expectations on him. And I think what we're doing, at least what I think I'm doing anyway, is saying, I saw it. He's impressive. There's something really special to build on here. And I think that of all the young guys I've seen, I think this guy's got something very, very, very good.
There you go. I'm with you. All right, now, Loren, go ahead. You've been trying to talk for 10 minutes, so we won't let you, but go ahead.
I'm going to put this out there publicly, and he knows it. There is no one that I respect more when it comes to judging talent and how officials call the game and everything than my man Franz Beard. So this is not an indictment. Franz is my guy. So, I'm going to take his word for it for sure. I want to make sure my wife's cheering for the Gators in the other.
Yeah, all right. You got it right.
Up 9 in the SEC tournament. But
keep
it down, babe. But
no, Marshall. Go ahead, Marshall. Bring it. Bring the heat.
And you talk about guys that you talk about when did, I think it could be a situation where when did Billy Napier really take the next step? When did the program under Billy Napier go to the next level? It might have been when they signed DJ Lagway. And it could be that moment where, like they tell the story, buddy. I mean, I think you wrote it in the book. Urban Meyer was out playing catch with his son when they found out they were getting Tim Tebow. And the rest was history, So I think that, it definitely is that. I just think, for this year, when you look at the team as a whole, I just, they got a guy and he's a dude. I mean, so it's going to be interesting to see how.
All right. And Ben, I'll let you weigh in. Let Ben weigh in for 1 second. He's been sitting on mute for about 10 minutes. He's wanted to say, then give it back. Give it back to Franz after that.
No. I do agree. I agree. Listen, I agree with Franz, I agree with Loren, and I agree with you, buddy. The thing about a guy like DJ Lagway is DJ Lagway understood. People think that Swamp Kings didn't just rock people's world when they saw it. Like when people growing up saying, "Oh, who is this Michael Jordan dude? Who is him?" The Last Stand comes out, and they daddy saying, "Didn't I tell you? You thought I was lying to you." Swamp Kings comes out. It ain't a college football player alive don't know who Tim Tebow is. A lot of these boys are too young to really understand what he was. Then they saw Swamp King. And they saying, and DJ Lagway Sr. saying, that school that's recruiting you, right? Yeah, you want to be. And I'm telling you, the greatest thing that ever happened to DJ was Graham. The hardest thing for any college football player to transition to is the game itself. As a tight end, I don't know what a quarterback has to deal with. I don't know what an O-lineman has to deal with. I know what I had to deal with, and it's just making the leap. I understand how great, Texas high school football is, especially the quarterbacks. If you look at how many that came out there and continue to come out, DJ get to come here with all the hype, and Graham pat him on his head for 2 reasons. He pat him on his head when you do a good job to let him know, good job, youngin'. But it's mine now. And that's out of respect. Graham Merz had 20 touchdowns and 3 interceptions last year. 69% I think of completion. And people act like this is a guy that people didn't know could play in the SEC. The greatest thing happened for any player that is great is to have somebody greater in front of you. People can say, I love Tim Tebow to death. Tim Tebow got to come out of Jacksonville and go straight in as the starter. It's not the same thing. He's still going to be great. It's not the same thing. You don't think Chris Leak told him?
Well, he didn't start right away. He had to play his way in.
But what I'm saying is, though, buddy, that stuff matters. Listen, every great player in the NFL, you know what they had? A mentor. Musa Muhammad is the reason why Steve Smith Sr. became what he became. Because when he got to Carolina, he was a return guy. Musa said, Come in, Steve. Let me show you something. Let me show you my check. This is what starting receivers get. What? And you see what happens, right? I'm telling you, DJ is a great kid. I'm not saying he's not. DJ having to step out there from day one, that's not good for any quarterback. I don't care who it is or what he is. I'm just happy that he is wearing orange and blue. I am on the DJ Lagway train. I mean, we know so much about these guys through videos by the time they get on campus. But DJ is out there, and everybody out there wearing the same thing, right? Defense might have on a different color, and he getting the best of the best. You know, he asked, "Hey, Graham, what is it like to play LSU? What is it like to play Tennessee? What is it like to play Georgia?" Right? This is what he should be asking. That way, by the time he's ready to step in there, which I hope it is 2025, that means that Graham had a good season and a healthy one, right? I think it's only going to bode well. The greatest player and person at any college is the backup quarterback. At every school, he's everybody love him because he can do no wrong until he go out there and throw passes. But I am happy. Listen, I am happy that we got. Well, listen, I'm sitting here watching early sign today like I know DJ Lagway. I'm like, did we get him? I haven't seen him yet. No. When Vince Young got drafted in 2006, I'm having a little draft party at my house, fully grown man in the NFL, and it went Mario Williams out of NC State. They go Reggie Bush going to the Saints. I'm like this. They get Tim. Vince Young. We going crazy. Check this out. We going crazy. Vince Young got drafted in 2006. Vince Young got to the team. You know the first question Vince Young asked me? He said, "Troupe, this your third year?" I go, "Yeah." He said, "When was you born?" I said, 82. He said, "I was born in 83. I said, "And you had another year left. You were born a year after me, and you had another year left for college." He said, this is what he said. Well, I wanted to win a high school championship. I said, "Vince, I love you." I said, "But your mama ain't held you back. Your mama did not hold you back to win no high school championship because Vince know I love him." But I said, "Boy, you were born a year after me, and you had another year left for Texas." You know what he told me? This one I knew. He said, "Man, we had some trouble with the Arkansas boys." That's what he thought the SEC was. Arkansas, for real. Yeah, exactly. So, DJ, love you. I'm looking forward to watching you get out there like anybody else. But Graham Merz said, "Hey, man, whatever you dealing with, young fella, they ain't even think I was built for this last year."
Listen, DJ's coming. Just remember that, all right? DJ's coming. Just mark it down, all right? Now, look, here's the guy's got to write a story. He's got on deadline. He's typing, and I'm going to turn the floor over to him for a few minutes here. Let him go ahead. He wanted to talk a while ago. We've been running our mouth.
I'm just going to say two things. One thing about what's been built here and how it's been built. And the second thing I'm going to make a comment about basketball. The first thing I'm going to say is this. Things have a way of falling into place in the right way. Before Steve Spurrier got here, Eric Rett was recruited. Kirkpatrick was recruited. Guys like this, Ernie Mills was here. Things like this. Things were in place, and it was and it was built. And then Spurrier continued to build upon it, so that by 1993, Florida becomes the dynasty team. Wins 4 straight or 6 straight, was it, SEC championships. Forget what it was, but nobody's ever done it before or since. This is Billy. We've been hypercritical of Billy, and I mean, let's face it, we all have. But let me say one thing: he's come in here and he's stuck to what he thinks is a process and a plan. Now that we see DJ in here and we see what's going on with him, and going back to something Ben said about having that mentor, just like having Chris Leak here, and then getting Tebow in here, etc., like that. Chris Leak did not have the ability to have a great mentor in front of him, or else Florida may have done so well that Urban Meyer may not have been necessary to be here, because he would have developed faster. But the fact that Tebow had that guy, it really paid off. It's a part of a process. You bring in Graham Merz, not knowing you're going to get Lagway, but now that you've gotten Graham Merz and he's done what he's done, and now that you see that he's going to be able to mentor DJ Lagway, you see how some of these things just fall into place. and they fit. And you start saying, well, maybe this Billy guy knows what he's doing here, the way he's putting this team together. I'm not saying that Florida's going to, I'm not going to predict wins, but I'm going to say this. They're going to be a better team. Now, does better translate into more wins? I don't know. We'll see that on the field. But they're going to be a better team this year.
All right.
And the future's bright with this. And let me say this about basketball.
Basketball, and then we're going to let everybody say goodnight with a final thought. Go ahead.
You know, Todd Golden, I'm going to tell you what, is going to go down as the hire of the century when it comes to college basketball at the University of Florida. He's going to be the next Billy Donovan. And you guys know how much reverence I have for Billy Donovan and how much I appreciate all that Billy did here and how I think that it's a travesty he's not in the Basketball Hall of Fame already. This guy's got that same kind of it factor that Billy had. He's got that ability to break it down for kids in a way that the kids want to play hard for him. That's what Billy could do. Billy could make you want to play hard for him. This guy makes these kids want to play as hard as they possibly can for him because they feel when they lose, they have let him down. That's the way Steve Spurrier did with you guys when you were playing, Ben, is he made you play so hard for him that you felt like you had personally let him down if you lost the ball game. This guy's got that for basketball. I can't tell you how much they're going to do this year. I believe they're going to beat Vanderbilt. I believe that. I think they're going to get 2 wins at the SEC tournament. I think they're going to go in 24 wins, a 5 or a 6 seed. And I'm not going to be the least bit surprised if the Florida Gators don't find themselves sitting there in the Sweet 16 and all of a sudden everybody's saying, where did these guys come from? Well, I can tell you where they came from. They came from good coaching and a coach that knows how to put a team together. And maybe, just maybe, although he's done it faster, it's easier in basketball because you only got 13 players and you can get 3 guys that can change a program. In football, you can get 3 guys that can change a program, but you better have another 19 of them that can play really well too. And this guy, Billy, I'm going to tell you what, I've come across, I'm watching him out there today. I'm listening to Graham Mertz. I'm watching stuff, and I'm starting to believe that Billy Napier, that plan is getting in place. Yeah. And I'm starting to believe that. I don't know. Okay,
man, we got it all tonight. We have it all. We have Billy Napier going to be an SEC champion. We have DJ Lagway going to the Hall of Fame. We had Dory taking a snap. We got the Todd Golden going to be better than Billy. We got it all tonight, Lauren.
He ain't going to be better than Billy, but he may be as good as Billy. I'll say that.
Lauren's got it talking, but his button's not on. You got to turn your audio on.
If pardon shot, I agree with Franz. I think that they, they're definitely at least a 2-win team in the SEC tournament, and I would be shocked if they don't make it to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. Now, it's about matchups and things like that, but, I mean, I agree with Franz. They're built well. Todd Golden is an exceptional coach, a great guy, and, has really kind of found his place with this basketball team. And here's the thing, too. They're going to be pretty good next year. If Clayton comes back and Real Richard, and I mean, they're going to be pretty good next year, too. He's got something for sure.
Let's get them to this spring. All right, man, go close it out.
Listen, since we sticking with the basketball boys, I was on sidelines this morning. They was asking me about my Gators. I'm saying this. People always talk about what Kentucky does or doesn't do. Florida is chasing the same legacy. Not the same as Kentucky, by no stretch of the imagination. But I remember when we got Coach Golden last year, everybody was like, this dude could coach. I'm telling you, Coach Golden understands momentum. We got guard play, we got bigs, we got hustle. I think that when Florida, we just want to be counting healthy bodies coming out of the SEC tournament. We'll love to win it. We'll love to win it, but you're counting them healthy bodies. I don't know who is the most dangerous team going into the tournament. I know who's one of them. Florida's one of the most dangerous teams going into the tournament. And the whole thing about it is, you get to the Sweet 16, and them 1 seeds start getting nervous. I'm telling you, It's all about the 1 seeds and everything going chalk. You know how it go, Lauren. But at the end of the day, the SEC basketball has gotten really, really good across the board.
Yep.
Like really, really good. Tennessee leading the way, Kentucky, Auburn, what may have you. But Florida gets in, anything happens.
All right, Ben, thank you. Franz already had to hit it. He's got to write the story. Lauren, thank you, buddy. Talk to you guys. Have a great weekend, and let's see what happens, all right? Pleasure to be on with you. Thank you very much to our guys tonight. Orange and BlueBloods all here. We got them all going to the Hall of Fame. Everything's working good tonight. It's good to be a little bit excited. All right, let me tell you about what I'm excited about. Sponsorship loyalty. People like this next sponsor who's been so committed to us over the period of the last 5 or 6 years, even before we started this streaming show. Renstar Medical Research was special to us in our town of Ocala, and also special in what they do to support the community, and special to be a sponsor on our show. They want you to know that clinical trials exist today to bring new therapies to the public safely, and clinical trials would not exist without the commitment of you, the volunteer. Renstar wants your participation as a volunteer. How you can take part in this is you can get online and go to renstar.net and find out if you'd like to take part in this program, this clinical trials. If you decide to participate, you may receive study-related medications and procedures at no cost charged to you or your insurance company. You may gain access to new investigational medications or devices that are not otherwise available and receive compensation for your time and travel. Renstar Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. Thank you to our cast tonight. Friends, don't forget Chris Spears earlier, and also Loren Meadows and Ben Troupe, all on the program. I'm off for a couple of days. Have a good one, folks. Be watching tomorrow. And I've got a column upcoming this weekend about, do you believe what you see with your eyes? Okay? All coming your way right here on Gator Bait. Sign up. Go ahead and subscribe to this podcast. And then go and sign up and take part in what we're doing here. We appreciate it. It means a lot to us when you do that. All right? Have a good night, folks.